Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. So glad you're here and listening into the podcast. I know I say it all the time, but I will continue to say it. I really do appreciate you for listening in. All right, now today this is another solo episode, and this is the fourth in a series, so the fourth in the last episode in this series of solo episodes. And this one, it's a big one. Today, we're going to be talking about something that so many high achieving women face privately, quietly, often in isolation, because we have been conditioned not to admit it. We're talking about reinvention, not the fun Pinterest board reinvention, not the new year, new me reinvention, not the dramatic blow up your life and move to Bali reinvention. I mean, the real kind. The kind that whispers before it roars. The kind that feels both terrifying and liberating at the same time. The kind that happens after we've had a level of success, when the world expects us, you, me, to stay the same, but something inside of you just refuses to stay the same. So let's talk about that today. All right. And to hear something most women in leadership or high achieving women in general never say out loud. It is terrifying to reinvent yourself after you've already succeeded. Not because you're incapable and not because you're unclear, but because you've built a life, a career, an identity, a reputation, and a level of respect around who you've been. And the idea of changing that, even slightly, feels risky. You might think things like, what if this new version of me disappoints someone? Or what if people don't understand? Or what if I lose credibility? You might say things like, what if I make the wrong choice? Or what if I ruin everything I've built? Or what if there's nothing better on the other side? If you've asked yourself any of these questions, or if these questions pop in your mind, these aren't signs of fear, they're signs of responsibility. Because women like you don't take change lightly. You think it through, you feel it deeply. And here's what's even more important: you wouldn't be feeling the pull toward reinvention if the chapter you are in still fits you. Reinvention in this season of life creates a specific kind of internal tension. It's the tension between stability and alignment. So, stability versus alignment. Stability says, you worked so hard to get here, don't mess this up. Alignment says, you're meant for something more, more true to who you are. Stability says, stay where it's predictable. Alignment says, grow where you're being called. Stability says, don't disrupt the image people have of you. Alignment says, it's time to reflect who you actually are now. Neither one is wrong, stability or alignment. Neither is wrong. But, but only one leads to the version of who you are becoming. And once you feel the misalignment, even if everything is fine, you cannot unfeel it. That's the beginning of reinvention. Reinvention is not just exciting. It's not just empowering. It's not just liberating. Reinvention also brings with it a level of grief. You start grieving the identity that protected you, the version of you that people admired, the stability you created, the goals you've once loved, the dreams you worked so hard for. You even grieve the old self you're outgrowing. And grieving success is complicated. It's really complicated. Because how do you mourn something everyone else still applauds? How do you let go of a chapter that still looks impressive from the outside? And how do you explain that good is not the same as true? High achieving women struggle here because the world assumes capability means you don't have vulnerability. But even ambitious women grieve, especially, especially when they're evolving, when they're growing, when they're becoming the next stage, phase, identity of who they are. So reinvention at 22 feels like possibility. Reinvention at 32 feels like strategy. Reinvention at 42, 52, 62 feels like the true you. But after success, reinvention feels like a calling, a return, a shedding of who you once were. Reinvention at 42, 52, 62 feels like truth. It feels like you. And after success, it feels like a remembering, a homecoming, a reckoning with who you have become. So, reinvention after success isn't about becoming someone new, it's about allowing who you actually are to emerge, to rise. And that takes a different kind of courage, not the loud courage of ambition, but the quiet courage of alignment. Okay, let's take a quick pause here. I just want to say if you are a woman in leadership and you've been feeling that quiet shift inside, that sense you've outgrown a chapter and you're craving more clarity, more direction, more purpose alignment, then I want to invite you to something special. I'm creating a brand new clarity experience designed specially for women in leadership who are navigating a career crossroads. And before it launches, I'm opening a small, intimate, early access circle where you'll get to shape the very first version of it. So if this season of your career is asking for deeper clarity, go to robinlowens.com/waitlist and request early access. That's robinlowens.com/waitlist. Okay, now back to the episode. All right, so now let's talk about her. And I'm saying that about that new identity. Let's talk about her. The version of you you're outgrowing. She was strong. She was resilient. She accomplished so much. She carried pieces of you that were necessary then. But she was built for a different season. She was built to climb, to achieve, to perform, to impress, to get to this level. And she deserves gratitude, not shame, but she does not deserve to be the one driving your next chapter. That's not her role anymore. Your next chapter needs to be the woman you're becoming, not the woman you've already mastered. Okay, so now let's talk about the woman rising inside of you. She is quieter but clearer. She is softer but stronger. Still ambitious, but in a healthier, more aligned way. She wants meaning. She wants depth. She wants a life and career that matches her inner truth. She wants to lead and live with purpose, not performance. This emerging identity is not random. She's not temporary. She's not unsure. She is the truest version of you that you've ever allowed yourself to meet. And reinvention is simply the process of moving toward her, even if you can't see the whole path yet. Okay, so here's a myth that let us just release this myth once and for all. You're not starting over. You're starting deeper. You're starting wiser. You are starting truer, truer to who you are now. Everything you've done still counts. All your leadership, your experience, your resilience, your learning, it's all coming with you. So you're not losing your path, you're refining it. You're not throwing away your success, you're repurposing it. You're not abandoning who you were, you're honoring her and evolving beyond her. So this isn't a reset, it's a reveal. So, if anything I've said so far in this episode is speaking to you, if you feel seen, understood, or even broken open in awareness in a certain way, I want to share something with you. I've been building a clarity experience for women exactly in this season. Women in leadership who are standing at a crossroads where purpose is shifting, identity is evolving, and reinvention is calling from a place deep, deep inside. But before it launches, I'm opening a small, curated early group that I'm calling the Clarity Circle to help shape the first version of this experience and to receive intimate support through this transition. So it's for you to receive intimate support through this transition. So if you're feeling that pull, if you feel like this season is asking more of you to be more of you, or if you know something in you is changing, then you can get access to this clarity circle at my website, robinlowens.com/waitlist. robinlowens.com/waitlist. And I'd love to have you inside this circle. Now let's go back to thinking about reinvention for a moment. Remember, reinvention is not a crisis. Reinvention is a calling. And the courage you're feeling right now, or the discomfort, the curiosity, the longing for alignment, that's your true self and your future self reaching back to guide you. You are not late, you're not behind, and you're not uncertain. What's really happening is you are becoming. And that is the most powerful place a woman can be. So I appreciate you for listening in today and for being here. And thank you for trusting yourself enough to listen. And until the next episode, this is Dr. Robin.